when so many people feel isolated, because again, many of us are still primarily working from home, what can you do so that you don't feel alone? So, our next guest is going to talk to us about collaboration and how, even if you have a very small idea, that doesn't mean that it can't become a bigger idea if you collaborate. Sometimes that notion is scary, but I'm here to tell you that we have several people who are going to talk about this notion of collaboration. Our first is my friend Nikoa Evans. She has been working in the community of Harlem in particular for I think like 30 years. It's pretty amazing. She's a trusted strategic advisor who has these 30 years of experience in marketing, brand positioning, and economic development in diverse communities. I know her from the village of Harlem where I live and now work. And I have seen her very stealthily working with people in the community to ensure that they are stronger together. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. Please welcome Nikoa Evans.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Harriet?
Oh, so well. And Nikoa, you know that during this period when people have been isolated, and yet they've got the ideas bubbling, they can feel like, well, where do I go? What do I do? And you have been very instrumental in helping to bring businesses together in Harlem through the organization that you founded, Harlem Park to Park, as well as many other efforts. And I'd just like to start by asking you why you think collaboration is important in the first place.
My goodness. Well, it's important. Thank you, first of all, for having me here. First of all, it's important just because we're stronger in numbers. Just when you think about any endeavor, when you have a diversity of in terms of thoughts, ideas, strategies brought to the table, the results are going to be a richer approach to anything that you do. So collaboration is key just so that you're mining and harvesting the best ideas. And then also you need support. It's really difficult to operate in a silo and on your own, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a mom, a family, we all need a village in whatever we do, and having that support system so that you can share resources, share ideas, and really be able to kind of have that listening ear that to be able to sound off on. It's just really key to developing strategies, because a lot of the time ideas take time to ferment, and you need to be able to bounce them off each other in a safe space where you can trust the people that you're revealing your thoughts and strategies to.
So how do you go about finding people to collaborate with? Because a lot of folks will say this is a great idea, but where do I start? What do I do?
Sure. Well, the first thing you want to do, of course, is identify like what is the mission and focus for what you want to do, and see if you can find like-minded individuals. A lot of times, if it's a business venture, you can look for industry organizations that are trade organizations, if you will, associations. They may be associations that are aligned on a specific industry sector. It might be you know women owned, men owned, businesses, etc. But you want to find different organizations, first of all. In your own community, there are plenty of them. There's always chambers of commerces or merchants associations or these kind of organizations. And then, there are a lot of online communities now, too. That's the wonderful thing about the internet. As big as it is very intimate as well. And there's a lot of segmentation that's happened where people have carved out niches and created community around those. So I would also say that people should seek out community within sort of cyberspace, because you can really hone in on a very, very specific mutual interest that you may have with certain communities. And so that's really, really important.
And when I remember you coming to Harlem first with a wonderful boutique, and we still have things that I bought from my husband from N Boutique, and it was really before its time. Here was this shining boutique in a community that wasn't pedestrian the way that it is now, and just didn't have folks who shop. People have money, but they didn't shop in the community. And from there, you described that you started Harlem Park to Park to help businesses know each other. What does Harlem Park to Park do?
Sure. So yeah, so we co-founded Harlem Park to Park in 2009. There were nine of us, and it was the economic downturn of 2009,
Right.
and we literally came together out of crisis as a support system, and so that really was the kind of impetus for forming it. Was how can we collectively survive this crisis, and what does that mean for us? What does success look like for us? And so what the organization did then and what it continues to do today is provide this community of entrepreneurs, now in Harlem over 300, this forum for us to strategize about initiatives we think will help elevate our businesses or economic development, to market and promote ourselves, to share ideas, and also just to keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in our industries. Um, we can't all know everything. So when you can kind of pool all of these thoughts and resources and access to information together, and share that with the community, it helps the community overall. So we collaborate to produce programming that supports the marketing efforts of the organization, and creates business or economic development opportunities, because the objective is to ensure sustainability of Harlem's
Right.
small business community.
And in other places, because given that we're in a virtual space, there are people who've come from, I see Hawaii and Florida and all over. What types of organizations can they look for in their communities that would do something similar to Harlem Park to Park?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they pretty much in any commercial district, there's going to be a chamber of commerce. So that would be the first thing. I would look at your chamber of commerce, and then see if, and a lot of times the chambers of commerces are very large, and they're really tasked with kind of managing like large development that's happening in a community. So sometimes their focus can be on big, big box. Businesses. So you also want to look to see if there is kind of uh, another organization that really is more aligned with the small businesses, because there's very different needs and all of the needs are important, but there's very different needs for a small business community than for the large scale development, and the large brands that might be coming into a market, which we've become very familiar with here in Harlem, in that you've got to manage both. So a lot of times there might be business improvement districts, chambers of commerce, and then smaller merchants associations. And then also, like I said, there are organizations that will literally be formed around supporting women in business, supporting men in business. And so those are really where you want to start. And then, from there, if you find that you don't see what you need, form your own. There is nothing wrong with forming your own collective, especially in that very early stage, where it's really about sharing ideas and being a source of support. It can simply be your own group of 10, 20 colleagues that do what you do in your space, and coming together on a regular basis. And that's where it starts. It really can start with that small seed of just coming together in community and collaboration. And then you kind of build into the structure and strategy and et cetera beyond that. But initially, it's really more about a support base.
That's really good to hear, because I think for folks who are in communities where they don't know, starting with people that they trust and
Yes.
forming a union,
Hmm.
of minds, of like-minded people, I think is very helpful. Got one more question. One of the things that you've done that I think is brilliant is working with very small businesses, like people who make uh, uh, jam and what barbecue sauce and other such things, candles, and working with them and Columbia University with, I think for starters, Whole Foods that came to Harlem. Can you tell us briefly about that project?
Sure. So that was the Harlem Local Vendor Program, which I created in 2015. And I'm very proud of this program because it came out of a need that I saw, an emerging um, local maker supplier community developing in Harlem that were participating in our street fairs. And like you said, it was the small bakers, the
Yeah.
brownie maker, the jam maker, someone that made jewelry. And I just noticed this artisanal community developing. And I said, well, what do we do? What we need to do if I want to get that product on shelves when Whole Foods comes in 2 to 3 years. And so we realized that they needed mentoring, they needed education in order to scale their brands, to be ready for wholesale, to take it to the
Right.
next level. And so that's really where, partnering with Columbia Business School and Whole Foods themselves as a retailer, large scale retailer, mentoring these brands how to scale for growth for large scale retail. It's been very successful. We've now had over 200 brands graduate through the program, and we have local Harlem brands on the shelves of, over 40 Whole Food stores throughout the Northeast, as well as we've got brands now in Walmart, Macy's, Sally Beauty Supply, selling on QVC. I mean, it's really exploded in a way that, we really didn't anticipate, but it just shows how rich the local maker talent in Harlem was. And it's become a model actually for small, diverse communities around the country that have similar kind of local entrepreneurs that can be cultivated in the same way. And really the goal was to create an economic ecosystem
Yes.
for our suppliers, sort of buyer supplier ecosystem. And that's what we've done.
And so your program, is it currently just welcoming Harlem-based businesses, or has it expanded? Because obviously it's not just New York stores where it goes, but has it expanded beyond who can participate?
So right now the focus, it's upper Manhattan. So we really do, look at the whole kind of upper, Manhattan area. We'll be starting the next application round in November, so people can register to, be considered for the program, at the website, www.hlvp.org. And we'll be considering applications for the spring 2022 cohort. So if you are a local maker in the upper Manhattan area and you are looking to, get into, and it's not just grocery retail, we're helping people scale for, retail, whether it's brick and mortar, whether it's online, whether it's creating your own e-commerce. It's just scaling for distribution, growth and distribution. That's where people can find us. And I'm actually being, uh, contacted now about replicating the program in other markets. So
Well,
really
I know that there are a
exploring
lot of
that.
people who are tuned in who want to know, when are you coming to my town?
Yes, yes.
Tell
So
us
that's how
tell
I'm
us
looking
the
at it.
website again, and we'll put it in the chat.
Sure. It's HLVP, stands for Harlem Local Vendor Program, hlvp.org. If they go there, they'll
Excellent.
see the information.
Thank you so much, Nikoa. Always doing great things, and I love that no business is too small, and that's so important. And I guess one other question is: do they have to pay to participate in this, or is it sponsored?
They pay the application fee, which is $45, and after that the program is free, which is
With
incredible.
Columbia Business School. Okay,
Yeah.
come on. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for all that you do. Thank you,
Thank
Nikoa.
you. Thanks so much.